I'm willing to bet that you've heard on the media that the housing market is going to crash, interest rates are at an all-time high, home prices are dropping, and that we're in the middle of a recession. But what exactly is happening here in the state of Utah and Salt Lake County specifically? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be showing you exactly what happened here in the state of Utah and Salt Lake City specifically for the month of August 2023. But before we jump into the video, my name is Marvin Alvarado, the Sneakerhead Realtor here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I get calls and messages from people just like you every single day looking to make their move here to the state of Utah. And I love hearing from you guys. If you're thinking about making the move here in the next 3 days, 3 months, or even a year from now, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is below. You can call me, text me, email me. You can also book a call with me down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to helping you make your move to Utah as smooth as possible. Now, let's go check out what happened here in Salt Lake County last month. So I'm going to be jumping into the video now, and I'm going to make this video a 3-part series. So first we're going to be talking about Salt Lake County, and then the rest of the week I'll have other videos kind of breaking down what happened in Utah County and then Davis and Weber County. But we'll focus today on Salt Lake County, the bigger county here in the state of Utah. So one of the first things I want to talk about is the average sales price. So as I mentioned earlier, you've seen a lot in the media about the housing market crashing, prices dropping, and all sorts of stuff going on in the real estate market. But it's interesting because it's not necessarily what's happening. Yeah, home prices have decreased a little bit, but not significant where it's making a huge impact in the housing market. Homes are still selling fairly quickly. Some homes are still seeing multiple offers, as we have seen the last couple months. And the main thing that you have to remember here is that as long as your home is priced correctly, and the proper marketing is done, and you have the right agent giving you proper expectations, you should be fairly educated from your agent as into what you can expect in the market, and how to get your home sold if you're looking to sell it. But also as a buyer, your agent should be giving you proper expectations on what you can expect on today's market, and what it takes to get into a home at the moment. A lot of people are just afraid of the interest rates, with it being in the 7 to 7.5%. But it's not necessarily a bad thing, because interest rates are a little bit higher. There is less competition, which means that there's more opportunities for buyers, with some of the homes that may have been sitting on the market for a little bit longer. But let's take a look at one of the things that happened here. So the average sales price is pretty interesting. So overall, when we look at all properties, single family homes, townhomes, and condos, August of 2022, the average sales price was $612,000. And then when we look at it, today, August 2023. The average sales price is actually $631,000. So the average sales price has actually gone up, 3% in the last year. So essentially, what that's telling us is that if we compare the average home here in Utah, the actual price itself has increased over the last year, even though interest rates have been a little bit on the higher end, or have increased within the last year. But when we look at the single family home specifically, in 2022, August of 2022, the average sales price was $683,000. And when we look at it today, August 2023, the average sales price was $710,000. So that's an increase of almost 4% on single family homes. Once again, that we've seen an increase here with last year, and it's not necessarily what the media is reflecting as into what's happening. So here in Salt Lake County, we've seen a small growth in home values, or the average home sale price. So essentially, we're seeing a little bit of growth, not as much as we have seen the last couple of years, but there's still a little bit of growth happening. Keep in mind, some of the the homes like in the the $1 million, $2 million, $3 million plus, those homes may not be as selling as much as they were a couple of years ago. So it's going to bring down that average a little bit. But at the same time, right, a lot of the homes that are selling are going to be in that $300 to $800,000 price range, which is reflection. This is a reflection of. And then when we look at townhomes, the average sales price for a townhome and condo last year was in August of 2022 was $436,000, and then when we look at it, August of 2023, which is last month, it's just under what it was last year, still at $436,000, but just a couple $100 less than it was last year, which is a 0.2%. Drop. One of the things that I think is, this is taken into consideration is that there's a lot of new construction when it comes to townhomes and condos right now. So there's a lot of availability, and a lot of builders are trying to move that inventory, and with there being so much, it's not selling as fast, right? And at the end of the day, most people that are looking to buy a home are going to focus on a single family home. And then, the smaller percentage of the population is looking at townhomes and condos. But pretty interesting to see those numbers. And then another thing that we look at here is the how many closings there's been, or how many homes sold, by price range. So obviously, when we look at break it down by price range, and we look at all properties, the biggest chunk of sales, where the majority of the sales came from, for last month is the $300,000 to $500,000 price range, and then for last year it was 492 that sold in that price range. Yeah, the number of sales have dropped. But they'll also have, like I said, there's a couple things that are affecting that, right? The interest rates, and there's also, a potential, a smaller sample of inventory that's available. And this is for a factor of several things, right? There's people that just don't want to, move and upgrade to a new home when they're comfortable in a 3%, 4% interest rate, and just don't want to move, to a 7.5% interest rate. So that's one of the things that's stopping people from listing their homes and selling, right? There's people that are still doing it and taking advantage of, seller finance deals, which is a great way to be able to get a low interest rate, or, using, buy downs, which, you ask the seller to buy down your interest rate, or even using some of your equity, if you're looking to upgrade, using some of your equity to buy down your interest rate. So there's several ways to be able to get a lower interest rate, without being stuck at, 7 to 7.5%. And a lot of new construction builders are offering some great incentives when it comes to interest rates. I've seen a lot of home builders that are offering a 5 to 5.5% interest rate, which is a significant amount when you look at current interest rate in the 7 to 7.5. So a 2 to 3% interest rate drop is going to make a big difference. But one of the things that I also think is interesting here is that last year, August of 2022, there was one home that sold that was over $3 million. But then we look at last month, August of 2023, there were 7 homes that sold in Salt Lake County for over $3 million. I mean, obviously, if you look at the 1 to 7, it's not a huge sample, but that's also a 600% increase in the number of homes that sold, in over $3 million mark. So, that's one of the things that I thought that was pretty interesting to see. But, pretty similar to what's happening here with the single family homes, condos, the $300,000 to $500,000 range is, the highest range in sales. And then, the other price ranges like, 5, 7 to $1 million. There's not very many of those, but there's also been a couple that have sold. And then that's something that's also interesting here, right? August of last year, one townhome or condo sold in the over $1 million price range. And then last month, 3 of them sold for a 200% increase. So pretty interesting to see. And then, we have pending sales. So essentially what this means, these are the homes that are currently under contract. August of 2022, we had, 1,500 homes that were under contract. August of 2023, which is this year, we have just over 1,100 homes that are under contract. For just under 25% less, or just over 25% less than if we compare it to last year. So obviously, kind of same things that we talked about earlier that are attributing to this, but still, there's still a lot of homes that are being sold, considering that the current circumstances and interest rates. That's not a huge difference. But let's take a look at a couple other things here that I think you guys are going to find interesting and that I found interesting. So, days on market. So last year we were sitting for August 2022 at 30 days. August of 2023 we were sitting at 36 days. Like I said earlier, there's several factors to this, right? If the home is properly marketed, properly priced, then the home is going to sell fairly quick. And the thing to keep in mind is that 30 to 36 days on the market is really not that long of a time, for a home to sell. It's in a normal market, it's not abnormal for a home to sit for 30, 60 days. What is abnormal is for homes to sell in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, which I think a lot of people got used to that a couple years back. When interest rates were at 3% or even less. Homes were selling so fast, and for over asking price, which caused the homes to go up 10, 20, 30%, in such a short span of time. But that certainly is not normal. But people got used to that and almost feel like it's normal, when they want to sell a home, right? But it certainly is not normal. And what we have to focus on, is that a normal market, you shouldn't be bidding, against, 30, 40, 50, even 90 other buyers on a home, which is what we saw on some homes here in Salt Lake County. That absolutely is not normal at all. And imagine if you were constantly, bidding, trying to bid other people for, 50 or more other people on a home. That would just be miserable if you're trying to buy a house. So just keep that in mind. But overall, one of the things that I think is also, interesting is that, last year, 2022, we had about, year to date, we had about, 10,000 or a little over 10,000 homes that have sold. I think there's, a lot going on here in the real estate market and a lot of opportunities for buyers as well as sellers. If you have the right agent and you're able to market your property correctly, and then, obviously have proper expectations. If you're listing your home, just don't expect your home to sell overnight, right? We're not in the same market. It could take, as long as your home is priced correctly, it could take a few days, it could take a couple of weeks for the home to sell. You got to wait for the right buyer. But definitely, we're not seeing a market crash here in Salt Lake County, and it's not looking, like we're headed in that direction here anytime soon. And at the end of the day, just keep in mind, like right now we have higher interest rates, but there's still a lot of opportunities for buyers if you're looking to buy. And if we do see interest rates drop here in the near future, even if we see it drop 1-2%, we could see that can make a huge impact in the real estate market, and just bring a flood of buyers that have been waiting on the sidelines for the last 2, 3, even 4 years, for those buyers that weren't able to buy because of the such a high competition when interest rates were in a 3%. All those buyers have been sitting on the sidelines waiting for their opportunity, right? So all those buyers that have been waiting for the last 4 years are just going to flood the market if interest rates do drop significantly. So that's going to make a big impact on the real estate market. But I hope this information has been helpful about the Salt Lake City real estate market, Salt Lake County specifically. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, you can reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me, do whatever you need to do to get a hold of me. And if you're interested in knowing more about what's going on in Davis County, Weber County, and Utah County, I'll be making separate videos about those, so look out for those later this week. Otherwise, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.